When he made me forget him. Chapter 1. 3 months pregnant, I walked in on my husband Adrian Sterling and his mistress in the middle of sex so violent it had ruptured her ovaries. The paramedics were still loading Sophia Chen into the ambulance when Adrian grabbed my arm, his grip bruising. She needs blood. You're O-negative. I tried to pull away, my hand instinctively moving to protect my stomach. I'm pregnant, Adrian. It could harm the baby. His gray eyes, once so warm when they looked at me, were cold as winter steel. This is life or death, Isabella. Stop being selfish. Life or death? What about our baby's life? What about mine? The nurse hesitated, looking between us. Sir, if she's pregnant. Draw the blood. Now. His voice cut through her concern like a blade. They held me down on the hospital bed like I was a criminal. The needle pierced my skin, and I watched my blood flow through the tube, filling bag after bag. That's enough. The nurse's voice grew panicked. She's pregnant, we can't take more or... Adrian leaned against the doorframe, watching the measurement marks on the blood bag with clinical detachment. Even as my vision blurred and darkness crept in from the edges, he didn't move. The last thing I heard before unconsciousness took me was the nurse screaming, she's hemorrhaging. Get a doctor. Through my fading vision, I saw something flicker across Adrian's face. Concern? Regret? But it vanished as quickly as it appeared. He turned and rushed towards Sophia's room without a backward glance. In the darkness that followed, I dreamed of the last 6 months. The car accident that had supposedly stolen Adrian's memories. Finding him with Sophia in his arms, claiming he remembered nothing, not our marriage, not our love, not the child growing inside me. I don't know you, he'd said, looking at me like I was a stranger trying to scam him. But Sophia. I remember Sophia. So I'd brought them both home, thinking love could overcome anything. Thinking I could help him remember. What a fool I'd been. When I woke, my face was pale as paper against the hospital sheets. I forced myself out of bed, each movement sending pain through my body. As I passed the VIP suite, I heard Adrian's assistant, Marcus, speaking in hushed tones. Sir, this experimental drug, the trials aren't complete. Are you sure you want to give it to Mrs. Sterling? The doctors said it causes complete memory loss within 2 weeks. Permanent amnesia. Adrian's voice was ice. She won't stop clinging to me, trying to make me remember feelings that don't exist. Her pathetic attempts at love are getting in the way of what I have with Sophia. My blood turned to ice water in my veins. But sir, Isabella. Once she's forgotten me, I can start fresh. And when I'm done with Sophia, well. I heard the smirk in his voice. It won't be hard to make Isabella fall in love with me again. I've done it before. I pressed my hand against the wall to keep from collapsing. The amnesia was fake. All of Ida calculated performance so he could keep his mistress. And now he wanted to erase my memories too. Through my tears, I remembered how he used to whisper against my skin. After making love me a little more each day, Bella. That's all I need to be happy. Back then, moonlight had painted silver across our bed, and his touch had been reverent. Now I understood man's promises in bed were just pretty lies to keep you warm. I stumbled back to my room on trembling legs. The doctors wanted to keep me for observation after losing so much blood. I just settled into bed when Adrian walked in, still wearing Sophia's blood on his shirt. You saved her life. He tossed a pill bottle onto my bedside table. These are prenatal vitamins. To help with everything. I stared at those white pills and laughed. The sound was broken glass in my throat. I picked up the bottle, shook out a pill, and swallowed it dry. The bitterness coated my tongue. Adrian's phone buzzed. His entire demeanor changed when he saw the collar-eyed shoulders relaxing, mouth curving into a smile I hadn't seen in months. Hey, baby, he murmured into the phone, already heading for the door. I'll be right there. Adrian. I called out. He turned, impatient. I smiled through my tears. Nothing. Go ahead. After he left, I pulled out my phone and bought a plane ticket for 2 weeks from now. Then I created a new reminder in my calendar, just 5 words. Leave Adrian Sterling. He drained my blood. He might as well have drained my heart too. This charade of love was over. I had 2 weeks to disappear before the drugs stole my memories. 2 weeks to vanish so completely that when I forgot him, I'd never have the chance to remember. Chapter 2. I spent 3 days in the hospital before they released me. When I pushed open the door to our Manhattan penthouse, the scene that greeted me was like acid on an open wound. Sophia was curled in Adrian's lap on our sofa, the one we'd picked out together at that little antique shop in Soho. Her manicured fingers traced patterns on his chest as she pouted. It's all your fault I ended up in the hospital. You were too rough with me. His hand curved around her face with heartbreaking tenderness. Can't help it when I love you this much. Once upon a time, I'd twisted myself into knots trying to rationalize these intimate moments. Told myself it was just the amnesia, that he couldn't help what his confused mind wanted. Now I saw it for what it was, a performance where I was the only one not in on the joke. I headed for the stairs, but Adrian's voice stopped me cold. Where do you think you're going? I turned, meeting his assessing gaze. He lounged against the sofa like a king on his throne. You saved Sophia's life. I may not remember our past. But I'll take care of you. Financially. I laughed softly. You already thanked me, remember? Those prenatal vitamins at the hospital. Something flickered in his eyes. Was he wondering if I knew? But then Sophia made a small sound, and his attention shifted back to her like a compass finding north. The housekeeper prepared ingredients for dinner, he said absently, already focused on Sophia again. I'm not hungry. I was too exhausted for this game. His voice turned cold. Sophia just had surgery. She needs your grandmother's blood-building soup. The one you used to make. The words hit like a slap. My grandmother's recipe, the one I'd made for him when he was injured, when he'd kiss my fingers and say my cooking could cure anything. Now I was just a tool to serve his mistress. How do you know that soup is effective? I asked quietly. You don't remember me, right? The question hung in the air like a blade. I watched him realize his slip. How would an amnesiac know about recipes I used to make? Once, he'd been shot in a business deal gone wrong. I'd spent weeks perfecting that soup. And he'd joke that I was his personal chef, his angel, his everything. Now the memory was just another weapon he used against me. When he didn't answer, I turned away. Behind me, Sophia's voice dripped false sweetness. Adrian, I think Isabella is uncomfortable. I really don't need. Isabella's my wife, he said curtly. Taking care of you is the least she can do. My nails bit into my palms. I went to the kitchen, moving like a robot through familiar motions. 2 hours of chopping, seasoning, simmering me grandmother's love made manifest in a pot of soup. The smell should have been comforting. Instead, it made me nauseous. When I carried the bowl to Sophia, exhaustion weighed down every step. Your soup. The second she took it, her hands suddenly went limp. Boiling liquid cascaded down, splashing across my chest and arms. The pain was instant and blinding. Before I could even scream, Adrian yanked me backward. My forehead cracked against the marble table edge. Stars exploded across my vision as blood trickled down my face. But Adrian never looked at me. His hands were gentle as they checked Sophia for burns, his voice soft with concern. Baby, are you hurt? Did it burn you? Sophia's lower lip trembled. My hand, it stings. He scooped her into his arms like she was made of spun glass. Let's get you some ointment. They left me there on the kitchen floor, soup soaking through my clothes, burns already blistering across my skin. I looked down at the angry red welts, touched the blood on my forehead, and laughed until tears came. Once, I'd gotten a paper cut while cooking, and Adrian had acted like I'd lost a limb. He'd kissed each finger, applied bandages with surgical precision, and made me promise to be more careful. Now I was bleeding on our kitchen floor, and he couldn't spare me a glance. I dragged myself upstairs, changed out of my ruined clothes, and surveyed the damage. My left arm was a landscape of blisters, one so large it looked like a grotesque bubble. I was reaching for burn cream when the bedroom door opened. Adrian's gaze landed on my forehead first. For a moment, something shifted in his expression. Then his jaw clenched. You deliberately spilled that soup on Sophia. What kind of person does that? I held up my burned arm, blisters gleaming under the light. Right. I burned myself this badly just to splash a few drops on your girlfriend. That makes perfect sense. His throat worked, but he held his ground. Sophia's fragile. New to this situation. Can't you show some understanding? Understanding. The word was a knife between my ribs. You want to know what I understand? I stepped closer, ignoring the pain. I understand that you can make white black and black white. I understand that I'm nothing to you anymore. He looked away. Don't be dramatic. You're still my wife. I'll provide for you. I started to tell him I didn't need his money, that I was leaving, when Sophia's voice drifted from the doorway. Adrian, I can't sleep without you. He left without another word. I stood there, burns throbbing, watching him choose her again and again and again. I treated my wounds alone, each motion mechanical. When I finally looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize the woman staring back hollow-eyed, wounded, broken. But in 2 weeks, none of this would matter. In 2 weeks, I'd be free. Chapter 3. The next morning, I slept in until noon, something I hadn't done since college. When I opened the bedroom door, Sophia was waiting in the hallway like a vulture perched on carrion. Yesterday's lesson wasn't enough? Her voice dripped venom despite the innocent smile. I tried to step around her, but she blocked my path, pressing close enough that I could smell her designer perfume, the one Adrian bought her last week. He loves me, she hissed. You and that thing in your belly should just disappear. Thing. She called my baby a thing. Before I could respond, she shoved me hard. I tumbled down the marble staircase, each impact a new explosion of pain. My spine screamed. My stomach cramped with agony that stole my breath. By the time I hit the bottom, blood was already pooling beneath my skirt. What the hell happened? Adrian's roar echoed through the foyer. Through my tears, I watched him run toward me. For a moment, just a moment, I saw real concern in his eyes. He dropped to his knees, hands hovering over me like he was afraid to make it worse. Bella, talk to me. Adrian. Sophia's voice cracked like a whip. She called me a homewrecker. I didn't mean to push her, I can't take it anymore. She made a show of running toward the wall, as if to bash her head against it. I should die. I'll apologize with my life. Don't. Adrian lunged for her, catching her gently, cradling her head like it was made of porcelain. He didn't look back at me, bleeding on the floor. It's not your fault. She fell on her own. I tried to sit up, agony ripping through my abdomen. My voice came out raw, desperate. Adrian, please, save our baby. He finally looked at me then. Something flickered in his eyes, guilt? Regret, before he shuddered it away. It felt like hours before he lifted me, his touch clinical where it had once been tender. But the pain in my belly intensified, and with it came Sophia's sniffles and Adrian's murmured reassurances to her. By the time he carried me to the car, I was already fading. The last thing I heard was him promising Sophia that everything would be okay, that it wasn't her fault, that he'd handle me. Handle me. Like I was a problem to be solved. When I woke up, the first thing I saw was Sophia's triumphant smile. Adrian stood beside her, his face carved from stone. My hand went to my stomach. Flat. Empty. The grief hit like a physical blow, stealing what little breath I had. The baby? I whispered. Though I already knew. Gone. Adrian's voice was emotionless. Which is for the best. It never should have existed anyway. Sophia feels terrible about the accident, so this ends here. Accident. He called murdering our child an accident. I didn't call her anything, I said, my voice breaking. Check the security cameras. You'll see. Enough. He pulled Sophia closer, as if protecting her from me. She's been traumatized enough by your jealousy. First you burn her, now you're trying to manipulate me with lies? I laughed. The sound was unhinged, hysterical. There are cameras, Adrian. Just check. What kind of person are you? Sophia whimpered into his chest. I'm already so scared, and you keep attacking me. Adrian's face darkened. You're spiraling, Isabella. Keep this up and I'll have no choice but to institutionalize you. Maybe some time away will help you, reflect. They left together, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder. I pressed my hand to my empty womb and sobbed until my throat was raw. Later, alone in the dark. Something strange happened. The memory of my baby began to fade, like watercolors in rain. I knew I'd lost something precious, but the edges of that loss kept blurring, slipping away. The pills. The memory pills were already working. I closed my eyes and let the grief wash over me one last time, trying to hold on to it before it disappeared entirely. Because even pain was better than nothing at all. Chapter 4. Over the following days, Adrian never came to see me. The penthouse felt like a mausoleum, beautiful and cold and full of dead things. My memories were dissolving like sugar in water. I'd catch myself staring at wedding photos, unable to recall the moment they were taken. Our first kiss, first date, first everything, all fading to gray. But my phone kept buzzing with messages from Sophia, each one a fresh wound. Adrian says he needs to give me a real home. One without you haunting the hallways. We're trying for a baby. A wanted one this time. He does this thing with his tongue. Did he ever do that with you? Or was I his first? I deleted them without replying. Soon, I wouldn't even remember why they hurt. 3 days before my flight, Adrian finally appeared. He found me in the kitchen at 2 a.m., making tea with shaking hands. We need to talk. He slid a manila folder across the marble counter. Sign these. Divorce papers. Irreconcilable differences stared up at me in stark black type. Sophia needs security, he said, as if explaining the weather. She has nightmares about you. About what you might do. The words should have hurt. Instead, I felt only a distant ache, like hearing about someone else's tragedy. Were we happy once? I asked, genuinely curious. The past was already more dream than memory. Something flickered across his face. Pain. Regret, before he locked it down. Sign the papers, Isabella. I'll make sure you're taken care of. You can keep the Miami condo. How generous. I picked up the pen, signed my name with steady hands. As I pushed the papers back, I asked, one more thing? What? Plan the engagement party. You too deserve something beautiful. Chapter 5. If Adrian expected tears or tantrums, my calm acceptance must have disappointed him. He studied me like I was a puzzle with missing pieces. The engagement party, he said finally. Black tie. The plaza. 500 guests. I'll handle everything. The old Isabella would have been destroyed. This Isabella, though one losing memories like a sieve losing water, felt only mild curiosity. Why did this man think I'd plan his party? Was I his assistant? I threw myself into the preparations with mechanical precision. Flowers, catering, music, each detail perfect and meaningless. When Sophia cornered me during a venue visit, her attempts at cruelty felt like static on a dead channel. Must be torture, she purred, planning your husband's engagement to another woman. I tilted my head, genuinely puzzled. Should it be? My lack of reaction infuriated her. She grabbed my shoulders, manicured nails digging in. You pathetic. Ma'am? I gently removed her hands. Please don't touch me. I don't know you. The confusion in her eyes was almost funny. Almost. The night of the party, I chose a corner table and watched the show. Adrian. In his tuxedo, Sophia dripping in diamonds, the crowd glittering like predatory fish. Whispers followed me, that's the ex-wife, planning her replacement's party, how pathetic. I sipped champagne and wondered why I was here. The invitation had been on my counter. The dress fit perfectly. But the reason escaped me like smoke. Then the screens flickered to life. Sophia's face filled every display, but not the poised socialite version. These were other photos. Private photos. Photos that left nothing to imagination. Her scream shattered crystal. Turn it off. Turn it off. Adrian's face went from confusion to rage in seconds. The lights came up. The screens went dark. Guests scattered like roaches. His eyes found mine across the chaos. In them, I saw accusation, betrayal, fury. I wanted to say it wasn't me. That I didn't even remember why I'd want to hurt them. But he was already running after Sophia as she fled in tears. I looked at the ruined party, overturned chairs, abandoned champagne, wilted centerpieces, and felt nothing. Tomorrow, I probably wouldn't even remember being here. What a waste, I murmured, and went home to pack. Chapter 6. I was deep asleep when a hand grabbed my wrist. My eyes flew open to find Adrian looming over me, his face twisted with rage. Sophia tried to kill herself because of those photos. You're going to apologize. Now. Even through my fog of fading memories, I could see his exhaustion, the shadows under his eyes, the tremor in his hands. But his grip was iron. I didn't do it, I said simply. I don't even know who you're talking about. Don't play games. He hauled me out of bed. The party was your responsibility. Every detail went through you. Sir, you're hurting me. I tried to pull free. I think you have me confused with someone else. That's when I noticed his phone wallpaper, woman's face smiling up at him. Sophia. The name came with a flash of pain, then nothing. You're coming with me. He dragged me from the penthouse in my pajamas, barefoot on the cold marble. He threw me into the hospital room like a sack of garbage. Apologize. I looked. Between them, this furious stranger and the woman in the hospital bed. For what? Sophia's tears came on cue. I know you hate that Adrian chose me, but those photos. I have nothing left to live for. Last chance, Adrian growled. Apologize. I'm sorry, I said to the crying woman, but I genuinely don't know what you're talking about. Should I call a nurse? That's when the guards grabbed me. They forced me to my knees, pushed my head down until my forehead cracked against the floor. Again. 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 Blood ran into my eyes. The world spun. Through the haze, I heard Adrian say, "We'll tell everyone the photos were of Isabella. She's jealous, vindictive. No one will question it." Sir, I slurred through bloody lips, I don't know you. Please. Same facial structure, he continued, like I wasn't even there. Similar enough to fool people. This protects Sophia's reputation. Perfect, Sophia breathed. You always know how to protect me. They discussed my destruction like weather. When they finally let me go, I crawled from the hospital on hands and knees, blood dripping onto white tile. Outside, a group of men surrounded me. Their leers made my skin crawl. So you're the slut from the photos. Sterling's trash. Want to play with us instead? They grabbed at my pajamas, tearing fabric. I curled into a ball, but their hands were everywhere. Through my tears, I saw Sophia watching from a window above, smiling. When the police finally came, I was half naked and sobbing. They wrapped me in a blanket, took my statement, drove me home. I stood in the shower until the water ran cold, then packed the last of my things. On my phone, a calendar reminder blinked, leave Adrian Sterling. I didn't remember making it. But it felt like good advice. Chapter 7. The men who'd attacked me were connected to Sophia Chen. The investigation revealed payments from Adrian's accounts, her messages coordinating the assault. The detective showed me everything with gentle eyes, like I might break. Your ex-husband needs to know about this. Mrs. Sterling. Ex-husband. The word meant nothing and everything. I sat in my ransacked apartment, looking at the walls where photos had been. Rectangles of clean paint marked their absence like ghosts. In the trash, I found torn fragments, a wedding dress, a smile, hands clasped together. Who tore them up? When? Why? My phone rang. An unknown number. Isabella? The male voice was rough with exhaustion. It's Adrian. I know about Sophia. About what she did. All of it. Adrian. The name sparked something, pain. Anger, before fading. I'm sorry, I said politely, but I don't know any Adrian. Silence. Then, please. I know I gave you those pills. The memory pills. But I need you to remember. I need you to forgive. I hung up. At the airport, my single suitcase felt both too heavy and too light. A boarding pass in my hand, a destination I didn't remember choosing. But the pull was undeniable. Away. Last call for flight 4472. London. I walked through the gate and didn't look back. Chapter 8. I wandered Europe like a ghost seeking its grave. Prague, Vienna, Barcelona, each city a new blank canvas where I could pretend the emptiness inside was a choice. In a small coastal town in Portugal, I finally stopped running. Something about the way morning light hit the water made me want to stay. I rented a cottage, opened a cafe, and learned to make peace with the holes in my memory. 6 months passed. Regular customers knew me as Bella, the American who made incredible coffee and never talked about her past. I wore long sleeves even in summer, covering scars I couldn't remember getting. Then he walked in. Bella. I looked up from the espresso machine to find a man who looked like death warmed over. Hollow cheeks, haunted eyes, expensive clothes hanging loose on his frame. I'm sorry, we're closing. It's me. Adrian. His voice cracked. I was your husband. I studied him politely, the way you'd examine a stranger claiming to know you. Handsome, clearly wealthy, but with a desperation that made other customers edge away. I think you're confused, sir. I don't know any Adrian. He pulled out his phone with shaking hands, swiping through photos. But when he showed me the screen, it was blank. His wallpaper some woman's smiling face. I deleted them all, he whispered. When I was pretending not to love you. I deleted everything. I poured him a coffee out of pity. Sir, are you feeling all right? Should I call someone? That's when another man entered, tall, warm smile, carrying sunflowers. He kissed my cheek and handed me the bouquet. Ready for lunch, love? Adrian made a sound like a wounded animal. You're with someone else. The tall man Elliot, my boyfriend of 3 months, stepped protectively between us. Is this man bothering you? He seems confused, I said. He thinks he knows me. Adrian laughed. The sound was broken glass. I gave you those pills. Made you forget. And now. He swayed on his feet. Now you don't even hate me. You nothing me. Elliot guided me toward the door. Come on. Let's go. As we left, I heard Adrian whisper, I killed our baby. I chose her over you every time. And now you don't even remember enough to hate me for it. Something in his voice made me pause. But Elliot's hand was warm in mine, and the sunshine was bright, and whatever shadows lived in my past weren't worth chasing. We walked into the afternoon, leaving the stranger and his grief behind. Chapter 9. Adrian started coming to the cafe every day. He'd order black coffee and sit in the corner, watching me with eyes that held too much history I couldn't access. Elliot wanted me to call the police. But the stranger Adrian never did anything threatening. He just sat there, a monument to regret, nursing coffee that went cold between his hands. I'm trying to find a cure, he told me one morning. For the memory loss. There's a lab in Switzerland. That's nice, I said politely, refilling his cup. You loved me once. His voice was raw. We were everything. To each other. I paused, studying his face. Sometimes, in certain light, something flickered like trying to remember a dream after waking. But it always slipped away. Maybe, I conceded. But that woman is gone. I killed her, he said simply. I killed everything good we had for someone who meant nothing. The bell above the door chimed. Elliot walked in, and Adrian's face crumpled. He left money on the table and stumbled out. He's getting worse, Elliot observed. The stalking. He's not stalking. He's mourning. The word surprised me. I think he lost someone who looked like me. That night, I found a package at my door. Inside, a wedding album, every photo of the bride carefully cut out, leaving only the groom. The same haunted eyes that watched me make coffee every morning. There was also a letter. Bella. I made you forget because I thought your love was inconvenient. Now I'd give anything everything to have you look at me with recognition, even if it's hate. The woman I threw you away for is in prison. The company I valued over you is gone. Everything I chose instead of you turned to ash. But you? You're happy. You found someone who treats you like you deserve. Maybe that's my punishment, watching you be loved properly by another man. I dream about our baby. Wonder if it would have had your eyes. I'm leaving tomorrow. The clinic in Switzerland thinks they can help, but we both know the truth, some things can't be fixed. Be happy, Bella. Be so fucking happy it hurts. The man who ruined everything. I read it twice, waiting for memories to surface. They didn't. But something made me keep the letter. Chapter 10. Adrian stopped coming to the cafe. Days passed, then weeks. The corner table gathered dust. Good riddance, Elliot said, but I caught myself glancing at the empty chair. Then the news broke, Sterling heir in Swiss hospital after experimental treatment goes wrong. The article was brief. Adrian Sterling, former CEO of Sterling Industries, had volunteered for dangerous memory restoration trials. Complications. Coma. Not expected to survive. Jesus, Elliot whistled. That's the stalker. He was loaded. I stared at the photo. Adrian in a hospital bed, machines keeping him alive. Even unconscious, he looked like he was waiting for something. Someone. I need to go, I heard myself say. What? Bella, no. The man was obviously unhinged. I need to go, I repeated, already reaching for my phone. The flight to Geneva took 6 hours. 6 hours of staring out the window, trying to understand why I was racing toward a stranger's deathbed. At the hospital, his assistant Marcus was waiting. Mrs. Sterling. Thank God. He looked exhausted. He's been asking for you. Even sedated, he calls your name. I'm not Mrs. Sterling, I corrected gently. But I'm here. The room smelled like antiseptic and endings. Adrian lay still as marble, only the steady beep of machines proving life. His hand was cold when I took it. I'm here, I whispered. I don't know why, but I'm here. His eyelids fluttered. Bella? Yeah. I'm sorry. Tears leaked from his closed eyes. For all of it. The pills. The baby. Choosing her. Making you plan the engagement. Every cruel thing. Shoo. I squeezed his hand. I don't remember any of that. I know. He opened his eyes, and the pain there was bottomless. That's the worst part. I destroyed you so completely, you don't even know to hate me. We sat in silence. Then, carefully, I asked, tell me about us. When we were happy. So he did. He painted pictures with words our first date at a terrible sushi place where we both got food poisoning. How I'd worn yellow to our wedding because white felt too traditional. The way I'd curl into him during thunderstorms, trusting him to keep me safe. I broke that trust, he whispered. Shattered it for someone who meant nothing. Why? Because I was bored. Because I could. Because I thought you'd always be there, waiting. He laughed bitterly. God, I was such a fool. The machines beeped steadily between us. The treatment, he said eventually. It's killing me. But I had to try. Had to hope I could give you back what I stole. Adrian. Be happy with him. Elliot. He looks at you the way I should have. His grip tightened briefly. Promise me. Promise you'll be happy. I promise. He smiled then, the first real smile I'd seen from him. Thank you for coming. For letting me apologize to your face, even if you don't remember why I need to. Adrian Sterling died at 3:47 a.m., holding my hand. I flew home with an envelope Marcus had given me Adrian's last gift. Inside were two things, a vial of experimental memory restoration pills. That might work, might not, might kill me like they'd killed him. And a note, your choice. Your life. No one else's. I stood at my kitchen sink, rolling the vial between my fingers. Elliot's arms came around me from behind. Whatever that is, he murmured against my hair, you don't need it. The past is past, Bella. We have now. He was right. The woman in those missing memories, the one who'd loved Adrian Sterling, who'd lost his baby, who'd been betrayed and broken, she was gone. Did I really want her back? I kissed Elliot, then dropped the vial in the garbage disposal. The grinding sound was like closing a book. Some stories, I decided, were better left unfinished. But sometimes, on rainy nights, I dream of a man with gray eyes whispering apologies. I wake with tears on my face and no idea why I'm crying, reaching for something that was never really there. Maybe that's punishment enough for us both.